Good evening, my brothers and sisters. I have an urgent message that I want to share with you all, and it's probably the most important for the time we are living in. First off, Jesus is coming very soon. A lot sooner than we realize. And secondly, it's like we are living in the twilight zone. I mean, come on. COVID only travels through groups of people protesting stay-at-home orders and Trump rallies, not people protesting and rioting over the death of Mr. George Floyd. I mean, the list goes on and on. Y'all know what I'm talking about. There's a pandemic of stupidity going on in this country. There's several things I'm wanting to share. I want to share with you a statement from the Book of Education and page 228. Listen to this. At the same time, anarchy is seeking to sweep away all law, not only divine but human. The centralizing of wealth and power, the vast combinations for the enriching of the few at the expense of the many. The combinations of the poorer classes for the defense of their interests and claims. The spirit of unrest, of riot and bloodshed. The worldwide dissemination of the same teachings that led to the French Revolution. All are tending to involve the whole world in a struggle similar to that which convulsed France. What are we seeing today? Total anarchy and the push for socialism. When you see the spirits of anarchy and socialism trying to overtake America, watch out. We have people across the country standing up, calling for the defunding of the police. What more do I have to say on that subject? This is what is happening in the United States of America. Friends, this is not what America is. I also want to share with you another statement from the book called Testimonies to the Church, and we will look at page 451. Now listen to this. When Protestantism shall stretch her hand across the gulf to grasp the hand of the Roman power, when she shall reach over the abyss to clasp hands with Spiritualism, when under the influence of this threefold union, our country shall repudiate every principle of its constitution as a Protestant and Republic government, and shall make provision for the propagation of papal falsehoods and delusions, then we may know that the time has come for the marvelous working of Satan, and that the end is near. Here we see the spirits of Catholicism and Spiritualism coming to America. This great document called the Constitution was made to protect us from Catholicism, from communism, from socialism, and the like. Once upon a time, our founding fathers hunted down and kicked out Jesuits and communists from the United States of America. Now they are running the show. That's why they are working so hard to get rid of the Constitution. The book of Revelation says this in chapter 13 and verse 11. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. The beast coming up out of the earth is none other than the United States of America. And we know the first beast to be the papacy. The second beast was rising up as the first beast was going down. Let me give you a history lesson. In 1798, General Berthier captivated the Pope and he died in exile. That was the diddly womb to the papacy. And what happens around this same time? The Constitution was ratified in 1787. The Declaration of Independence was ratified in 1776. The United States of America was rising in power as the papacy was going down. And this power had 2 horns like a lamb. Horns representing powers. One horn being Protestantism, which is a church without a pope, and the other horn being republicanism, a nation without a king. And notice how these 2 horns are separated, meaning the separation of church and state. This verse alone tells me that this country was based on Christian principles. And according to the First Amendment, we can worship how we want, who we want, and whatever we want. We have all the freedom, and God also gives us the free will to do that, even if it's wrong. And notice how it says two horns like a lamb. Jesus is represented by a lamb. Also note that we see a change of scenery here. All of a sudden this beast begins to speak as a dragon. How does a nation speak? Through its laws and legislations, right? Who is the dragon? Satan himself. Is it now speaking as a dragon? Let's see. Abortion was legalized nationwide in 1973, and gay marriage was legalized nationwide in 2015. These are just a couple of examples. But now Sunday blue laws are in the works. Under the guise of a family day, people around the world are currently meeting up about a green Sabbath or a universal day of rest. Bishops, environmentalists, atheists, Jews, Protestants, and world influencers are all on board with this to combat climate change. And if you oppose this agenda, then guess what? You'll be killed. Revelation chapter 13 says in verse 15, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Listen, we are so concerned with what the papacy is doing, but not with what America is doing. We need to watch what the image of the beast is doing. The United States is going to be the one leading these Sunday laws, not the papacy, not Russia, not China, the United States of America. Let's go back up and look at verses 12 through 14, shall we? And he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword, and did live. It is the United States of America who goes out around the world and says, look, you all need to do what we're doing. The U.S. influences the rest of the world to enact these same laws. It was 1,260 years Christians were being murdered by the Roman Catholic Church. We didn't just flee to America from civil persecution, but also from religious persecution. God gave us this land to protect us, and God was with the founding fathers as they wrote the Constitution. God was with them when they wrote the Declaration of Independence. God was also with Abraham Lincoln when he wrote the Emancipation Proclamation to free the slaves. God has blessed this country in more ways than one. Brothers and sisters, and if you believe God didn't lead us to America, then let me show you. Go to the book of Revelation chapter 12, and we will look at verses 14 through 16. And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place, where she is nourished for a time, and times and half a time, from the face of the serpent. And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away of the flood. And the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood which the dragon cast out of his mouth. The woman represents a church, and during this time was the Dark Ages. For 1,260 years, God's people were in hiding, and then the dragon or Satan sent out a flood to be carried away into destruction. And according to Psalm 18 and verse 4, a flood represents ungodly men. So Satan sent out a flood of ungodly men to destroy God's people. But notice something happens. The earth opens up and her mouth swallows this flood. What does the earth represent again? The earth beast of Revelation 13, the United States of America. It was during the Dark Ages when we fled here and called this country home. It was during the Dark Ages when we when we ratified the Declaration of Independence. It was during the Dark Ages when we ratified the Constitution, which protects us from the very things we fled from in the first place. But what happens next in verse 17? And the dragon was wroth with the woman and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which do what? They keep the commandments of God and have the testimony of Jesus Christ. What remnant sprang up and was founded here in America after 1798? I can give you a hint. The remnant is a church. She proclaims the Sabbath. She proclaims the three angels' messages. She proclaims the sanctuary message. No other church does that. Here's another hint. It is written right here in this very verse. She keeps the commandments of God and has the testimony of Jesus Christ, which is, by the way, according to Revelation 19:10, the spirit of prophecy. There is only one church on the face of this earth that fits this criteria, and Satan came here to the United States to make war with her. This remnant church is none other than the Seventh-day Adventist Church, and it was raised up by the hand of God, and it's not just another church. It's a prophetic movement, and because of this nation, now speaking as a dragon, we have Catholicism, Socialism, Communism, Spiritualism, and Anarchy beginning to take over America. And we have one little document called the Constitution protecting us from a full takeover. But soon every principle of this great document will be just dust in the wind. And then the mark of the beast will be enforced upon all of us, just as it was in the Dark Ages. And the same spirit of unity of church and state, which put Christ on the cross and killed over 50 million men, women, and children, will be back at full strength, and the persecution will commence. God's people more than ever need to be prepared. We need to stand up and speak the truth. If we don't, the rocks will surely cry out. Jesus is coming soon, and we would need to be ready. I mean ready right now. Don't wait to give your heart to Jesus Christ. Do it now. This is John Tinsley with Everlasting Rock Ministries. And always remember, the truth never fails. God bless you.